All right, so today is day 4, right? And this morning we woke up and we had breakfast. After breakfast, we got in the car and we drove back to Boston. So we found a place to park and we got out and we walked a little bit.
3 minutes.
3 minutes exactly. We walked to the aquarium. We got our tickets, went through the door, and what happened when we went in the door?
Fire loud.
Very loud. So we said, how about we go and maybe check this out later?
And do
So-
a trolley ride.
Yeah, instead we went on a trolley ride. So the first stop we took, it's the USS Constitution. The first building we went into was the Visitor Center, and they had a bunch of Navy stuff. Who was in the Navy?
Grandpa Cooper.
So we got to see the uniforms that the Navy people would wear, and
The hats.
the hats, and a lot of stuff that might have been on the Navy boats, like the chains and the ropes. And what did you get to do there?
Braid rope.
Yeah, so you use this like machine thing to kind of twist the rope,
And
and
it shows arrows when you get to like spin it.
yeah. And what did you learn about rope? Like, why would you do that?
I would strong in it, and then Levi would braid it.
Yeah, and what did that do for the rope?
Make it stronger.
And we saw like these really huge ropes hanging from the ceiling, right?
One was like longer than Daddy and as big as him.
We went outside and we got to go on the boat. On the top was the deck. Underneath that was the cannons, remember?
Levi calls them pew-pews.
There were a lot of cannons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Underneath that level there was the officer's room, and there was sleeping quarters and where they would eat, and there were hammocks hanging up. Remember that? From the hooks?
And there's buckets hanging up,
Mm-hmm.
and there's different gunpowders.
Yeah, so the buckets were for gunpowder. So then we walked back up, walked off the ship, and then we went to the USS Constitution Museum. Levi found something at the front counter. So,
Oh, yeah, a dog. And then we followed its footprints, and then Levi was like crawling up the stairs, and he was like, ruff, 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 ruff. And then we found the other dog. To scrub the deck, you'd use a big, heavy rock.
yeah,
And the captain said you need to scrub it until it's all white as snow.
yep. And then they had hammocks there to show how they sleep. And then they had a mast. Actually, what else did you see in the museum that was Mommy found hanging from the ceiling?
A goat.
A goat?
And it would go, "Bah,
Yeah.
bah."
After the museum, we got back on the trolley. We had to wait a little bit. We took it to stop. Do you remember what stop number?
5.
Stop number 5. So the State House had a balcony that was famous, and then it was right where the Boston Massacre happened. Do you remember that? And so we took a look around there. We didn't take the tour because we were all hungry. Yeah, and we wanted to make it back to the aquarium on time to have more time there. So we went to eat at an Italian restaurant, and was the food good there?
Mm-hmm.
So back to the aquarium. You got to stick your hands in the water, and for the first time ever, you felt a stingray, right? What did that feel like?
A white dog's ear.
A wet dog's ear. It's like fuzzy almost. And did you ask any questions there?
Yeah, what is that big one called?
What is that big one called? Do you remember?
Mm-mm.
I think it was called a leopard stingray.
Mom, what is that big one called again?
after that, then we walked over to the penguins. And was there like 2 penguins? Was there like 5 penguins? 10? How many do you think?
100.
100? There were a lot of penguins there.
Altogether, I mean 100.
Yeah, and they were on rocks, and they were swimming in the water, and they were talking to each other. Remember that?
It was like.
In the middle of the aquarium was a huge tank, right? And they had divers in there feeding the fish.
And
they
there
were-
was a turtle that was like 90.
There was a huge turtle that was 90 years old. And everything in the tank was saltwater, right? So there was some really cool looking fish in there. There was another spot where we could pet some sea creatures. Do you remember what we saw in there?
Sea stars.
Sea stars?
I petted one and it felt like bark.
Now, I thought everybody told me that they were called starfish. I thought that they were called starfish.
They're not a fish. Fish have backbones, and starfish, no backbones.
Anything else in there? I think there were some sea urchins, crabs, hermit crabs maybe. I think you saw some seahorses, right?
One was black, one was white.
And some lobsters.
Piranhas.
They had piranhas, and they had like an exhibit of what an Amazon would look like, and the fish
Yeah,
there.
Mommy said you don't want to fall in with the piranhas.
Yeah. And then they had,
Good thing nobody was scuba in there.
yeah, I know. I wonder how they get fed. And then they had like, did you see the fish swimming really fast in like a circle? The silver looking fish. And after we saw everything that we could see, we went to the gift shop. And did you have a good time in there?
Yeah, and I got something. There's toys inside. Oh, I actually didn't show Levi my other one.
I didn't even see him yet.
Here's the first, and here's the second.
Let me see.
Here's one. That's a shark, and I got another one.
Cool. So, what else did you get? Show me. Cool. What is that?
Starfish watch.
Star. That's a cool watch. We're going to have a busy day tomorrow, but hopefully a little bit more relaxing, a little bit less walking.
Yes. Did we?
Can you say good night to the camera?
Good night. Levi, say good night. Yell good night.
Good night.
Say
Levi's-
loud. Good night. They can hear you. Good night.